don't have much energy tonight.
I clicked it.
Too late.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Whoa, my mic is super loud.
Oh shit! My bad. Sorry. We're not grading him tonight.
No, we're grading Brandon tonight.
Brandon. Oh, I did not double check everything.
That's okay. If it's,
I am right now. You go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I'm actually excited about this one because this is actually a request from one of our Instagram followers. Well, I think he's a follower, but one of our Instagram commenters.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Hey, actually, you say something.
Something.
I don't believe.
Always look on the bright side of life. No, I don't think my mic is live.
Well, actually, it's just not low enough. Let me see.
Not low enough. That's your mic, bro.
I know, that's what I was saying. Yours is underneath mine.
That's your mic, bro.
Because I'm always on top. It's fucked up. All right. It's fucked up. All right.
Say something. Say something.
Let me say something. It doesn't sound like it's on.
Nope. I don't think it is.
It doesn't sound like it's on. I don't think it is.
I think I'm just getting picked. It is? It is? Ain't that crazy?
Crazy. All right, there we go. We're good.
That's crazy. All right.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Now we are.
Welcome.
We are on. So, yes, we were prompted by an Instagram commenter, and therefore we are. We were probably going to do this anyway, but we were probably going to wait till his presidency was done. But I feel close enough. I mean, let's face it. For someone who I thought was going to be a placeholder president, whew. I mean, wow.
Before we get into opinions, let's just straight do it.
Let's put it out there. Now, I will fully admit my bias. Now, I tried my damnedest to be objective. I probably failed to a certain extent, but I think I did okay. But a lot of this stuff you just can't ignore. So we're going to grade him on the exact same scale that we graded Trump, and we're going to start out with foreign policy.
Oh.
Now, I'm going to do this. When you do that, when you do this, I'll do that.
All right.
So it was actually very hard. It was very easy to find a timeline of Trump's presidency, like a bullet point list of all the stuff that happened.
Oh, yeah.
With Biden, it was really hard. Like, there just wasn't a comprehensive list. There were quite a few of his first 100 days, but that's like outlining everything. And let's be real, nobody wants to listen to anyone talk about Biden for that amount of time. So I just have some.
Yeah, like, you can only go so much off of hairy legs.
I do have some, so I said foreign policy first, so I just have some.
Oh, the travesty is his foreign policy.
So highlights, as of yesterday, here's the other scary thing. So I could not find a precise hard number of how much money we have actually sent to Ukraine up to this point.
What was the initial?
I couldn't tell you because there are.
I thought it was $100 billion. Right?
There are conflicting. So the number that I found was that we have, as of February of 2023, we have sent approximately $40 billion. However, I found a very interesting article, and this is where some of the confusion happens. So I think $40 billion is what we've sent, like actually sent them. However, but $115 billion has been appropriated through the year 2032. They've laid out this timeline of disbursement of funds.
But that's okay because your groceries are cheap.
Yeah, right. Which, okay, here's the thing though. I wouldn't, don't get me wrong. Ukraine, we said this in our Ukraine episode, which actually, forgot to mention the sponsor of tonight's video, Acropolis News Network, where you can check out all of our regular podcasts as well as premium content that you can only get on Acropolis News Network. No, that's the sponsor. That's pretty much it. Not just us, though. There's a lot of other stuff on there now. They are building up more because there's some older content on there now, but they are building up more. They have some new podcasts coming on. So definitely at least check it out. And if you want to see the premium content, we go way in depth on Ukraine.
And we also don't have to hold back because of...
Not at all. So, yeah.
Guidelines.
Yep. We're doing what Steven Crowder was too scared to do. But
he ended up doing anyway. Oh, no. Actually, no, I get what you're saying.
Kind of.
Never mind, my bad. He went on his own.
Well, but
We'll
see. But what I said in that video, to bring this really long and drawn out point to a close, it's really hard to talk about Ukraine because there's so much classified information that we just don't have. And that's really military in general, unless you're talking about something, in history that's thus been declassified and that information is now available. But on the surface, looking at Ukraine, there's some serious questions we have about, do I think the United States should support Ukraine? To a point, but where does that end? And that's where the opinions heavily differ.
Right.
And when you look at that kind of money, the kind of money that they're sending to Ukraine, you have to call out the hypocrisy of certain politicians on the right and the left, because a lot of these same people were bitching and moaning about how much the war in Afghanistan cost.
Well, and Biden's forcing that on us. So the thing is,
they forced funding the war in Afghanistan too.
But how many people are against it? Against the war in Ukraine, and we're not for funding it. And,
well, Congress voted on it, so not too many people.
But the funny thing is, Congress represents people, and they represent districts. And guess what? They don't forget.
Actually, on an unrelated note, I saw your district's representative live on C-SPAN today.
For Columbus?
Yeah, they were, which he sounded like a complete dork. He wasn't the worst offender.
Was it?
The TikTok CEO. He was in a hearing.
Okay. I mean, TikTok should have been banned a long time ago.
You know what? Now I'm wondering, because some of the questions these crusty old fucks asked...
They're not asking the right questions because they're not technologically adept.
But they're not even close. And actually, that way we might do a premium episode solely on China and, TikTok.
Oh, absolutely.
But, getting back on topic...
Back on topic. Never going to stop this. Didn't mean to kill him, but I didn't have an option.
So, yeah. But it is a true statement. There's a lot of Americans out there that at least have questions about Ukraine. And I know Biden has changed tune on a couple of things, which Trump did too.
His tune?
No, different tune. At first we were sending not non-lethal aid. Trump lifted the ban on that. But there were certain types of weapons that we were flat out not going to send to Ukraine, and now we are sending them to Ukraine after Biden said we weren't going to send them to Ukraine, which I get it. People are allowed to change their minds. That's fine. But what I get sick and tired of seeing is one side getting called out when they change their mind and the other one being like, well, it's okay and enlightened for people to change their minds. It either is or it isn't, folks.
Yeah. And now it's definitely not okay because Putin and Xi Jinping, whatever his name is, the
Prime Minister Pooh Bear
of China and Russia, basically saying, "Hey, they're going to work together." That's not a good thing.
Well, I get what you're saying, but
I mean, you can speculate all you want, but the thing is, they are two superpowers and against one superpower. Now, I would think that our superpower, even with them still combined, still bigger.
Well, it depends on...
I would say barely. I would say close to even.
I would say not barely.
But it doesn't matter because if nukes go flying, we all go dying.
And that's ultimately the problem.
I try to throw out as many gaffes as much as to stump you and see.
Oh, so you're just trying to break me on this one. Okay. Some other numbers that are... Now, one thing on foreign policy that conservatives may like about the Biden administration, except if it weren't so damn hypocritical. 2.3. All of these numbers, by the way, unless I specify otherwise, are from January of this year. 2.38 million. That is the number of reported migrants stopped by Border Patrol on the U.S. border. Which there was a big surge during the Biden administration. There were other factors, but let's not mince facts here. The fact that a Democrat is in the White House tells a lot of people who want to cross the border illegally that they won't be treated as harshly.
And not to mention not the caravan. But that giant. What was it like? How many people was it?
I don't remember, but dude, I saw some video in that.
It's a lot.
They've got these exploding razor wire things that they threw exploding is not the right word, but it's like heavily compact, and it's like they flip a switch and the whole thing just becomes like this razor wire barrier.
That's wild.
It was pretty impressive, man. Texas, don't fuck with Texas. They created a border wall in seconds. Now, the funny thing is, though, I just said that like a lot of these migrant people who want to come into the country and cross the border think that they're going to be treated better when I would argue that Democratic administrations are just as bad, if not a little bit worse, because you don't hear about it. But one of the things the Biden administration will not tout is the fact that they have filled in border gaps from the Trump border wall projects, allocating more money and resources to closing gaps in the southern border.
Which, if you would have just finished it when you should have,
Well, they effectively are finishing it, at least in certain portions.
Yeah, and the thing is, the feds can't say anything about it because it's their own state.
Well, but after all that shit they talked, I think if there is kind of a recurring theme in the Biden administration, it's hypocrisy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to say for the border wall, it's like, if you're in the state and you want your border wall finished, then literally
finish it.
Arrest as many cartels and take their money and finish it. Well, what are they going to do?
Maybe that's how they were going to make Mexico pay for it.
Well, I mean, all that dark money or whatever you want to call it, cartel money that they seized. I remember Trump talking about that when he was president. That was a lot of money.
So anything else you want to add? Because I think that was my last bit from this list on foreign policy.
Oh, foreign policy. I mean, like, I'm not going to go crazy on this, but, I mean, Biden's foreign policy is literally non-existent.
Well, yes and no, because here's an interesting fact, too. So you remember all that smack he was talking about Trump on the tariffs, right? Hmm? Most, if not all, are still in effect.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Except... This isn't foreign policy. This is getting something different, so I don't want to get too far on it. But what is it? The insulin. Well, Trump did the exact same thing. We're going to get to that.
We'll get to that in domestic policy. But it is worth noting that we have international news, which I know this happened with Trump too, but we have international news organizations making fun of Joe Biden, particularly Australia. They've got some zingers.
So pretty much his foreign policy shit.
It depends. Like, this is the...
You can try to... I know you're trying. You're trying very hard to be both sides. And I'm looking at it, and you can't even dress that turd up nicely.
And I was thinking about this on the way here, because there are multiple leadership styles. Now, Trump was very strong in some ways and very weak in others. That's why we were talking about his foreign policy. It's like, I appreciated the fact that somebody like Trump would, I hate to use the phrase instill fear, but make people think twice about fucking with the United States. But at the same time, he's a rather crass individual. He's not particularly presidential on that aspect. So as a representation of the United States, he's lacking in many ways.
Except Trump did walk into North Korea, first president ever.
I know. That's not what I'm talking about.
And then, I know, but I'm just saying these other things too. And it's like Joe Biden can't even go to Ohio.
Again, we're talking.
I know.
Policy.
I'm just saying.
But and then for contrast, I'd look at somebody like Barack Obama, who.
Damn it! Trying to stick to a script. No, just kidding.
I wouldn't say Obama was a wuss. Trump was a lot firmer.
No, Obama was not a wuss after all those bombs dropped from those drones.
But
dude killed a lot of people.
You can't deny, in terms of acting presidential like a world leader.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Obama was legit.
Yeah.
You can't deny that. Very diplomatic, very well spoken.
I liked listening to him talk.
Man, I'm telling you what,
he should just do audiobooks. He'd be a billionaire.
Dude, I'll tell you what, Barack.
And he said, "Take your shirt off." And the other guy said, "Okay."
And he bet me down.
And then he said, "Okay, Michelle." Oh, sorry.
And then I said, "We can't do this." And I said, "Yes, we can."
Sure enough, that prosecutor was fired.
Obama was funny too, and Trump was funny too, but in a different way. But what I'm getting at is,
dude, the I'm sorry to interrupt you. The Obama Biden back and forth memes and whatnot, those were comedy gold. I don't have to like either of them to say that shit was funny.
It's worth noting that during the Obama administration, Biden was essentially told, not literally, but essentially told to shut up, stop talking. Biden has neither of these qualities because he is not intimidating in any way, shape, or form.
Oh,
and this doesn't
can't even ride a bike.
Yeah, this doesn't have anything to do with age either. Biden was never intimidating. Biden is that kind of guy who Like, if you're out at a bar and he's talking shit about how he'd kick everybody's ass and you know he's got a glass jaw, that's Biden. That's Biden when he tries to talk tough. And especially now, because now he's got the old man voice really bad. He's like, listen, if you mess with the United States, we are going...
Did you see him take off for the ice cream truck? Oh, dude, it was hilarious. He was in the middle of something, and then the ice cream truck goes, and he just starts walking. I don't know if it was a deep fake or anything like that.
I think that one was probably.
But it was so funny. And
I'll
admit if something, I believe it's a deep fake.
We watched a man fall off of a stationary bike.
Oh, yeah. Just saying.
I mean, but also, Biden also doesn't have the diplomacy. Because I get it. Maybe he's weaker than Trump, like, obviously. But he also doesn't have the diplomacy skills that Obama had.
No.
And, frankly...
He was the class president who got elected just because he's going to get new vending machines and can't deliver on the promises.
We got an agreement with Coca-Cola, and it's in the works, and everybody's going to have Pepsi every day.
Yeah!
So, yeah.
If they offered McDonald's Coke, I'll go with you.
McDonald's Pepsi. McDonald's Pepsi is the best. I don't care what anybody says. Which, by the way, foreign policy, we're not getting into direct military because everybody's talking about everybody who's
want to go ahead and give that a grade?
Nope, that's going. Yeah, we'll give foreign policy a grade. Just want to let people know we are going to talk about Afghanistan, but that's going to be strictly military because not only is the president of the United States a diplomat, but he's also commander-in-chief of the armed forces.
This time, though, instead of us coming to a conclusion on one grade, we're going to have 2 grades if we don't agree. Because I
say we'll just take an average.
Well, yeah, that works too.
So on foreign policy,
he's gonna say D+.
I was gonna say D- actually.
D-? Okay, I'm going F-.
So that would be an F.
Yeah. Well, you can just say.
Well, because the reason I can't remember what we gave Trump. Actually, I can tell you.
Because it goes D+, D-, D. Just give him a D.
Well, no.
Give him the D.
It goes D+, D, D-.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. How many years have we been out of school?
Well, our grading scale was
different.
I wasn't going to say it was fucked up because I actually liked it. So actually in foreign policy, we gave Trump a B+.
69 was failing kids.
Yeah.
You had to get 70. Just saying. Y'all have it easy. Which, I mean, honestly, that's not even really that hard of a grade to get.
I'm really trying to think of something that I would say Biden's done well.
Nothing. F. It's F for me.
Okay, we'll just call it an F.
Because the thing is, if you could think of one thing that he's done,
I'm trying.
That's like made sense. You know, anyone watching, if you think that Biden did something good for foreign policy,
we will reconsider grades if you want to add.
Yeah,
something
absolutely.
In the comments.
But like, we're trying to be as fair as possible. But like,
I know that he moved some missiles out of certain regions in the middle, and some missile sites out of certain areas of the Middle East. But I would say that's not a good time to do it. Not right now.
I mean, considering he moved missiles, but then left all that equipment over there in was it Afghanistan?
Yeah, in Afghanistan.
Billions and billions of dollars worth of equipment.
And not
he could have just said. I mean, if he really wanted to do it, he could have been like, "Hey, Afghanistan, give me $1 billion for all this."
Not to mention the people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because now they have to deal. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I'm talking about the citizens over there, the people that live there.
I'm talking
now
about
they have
American
to deal with
citizens.
These crazy individuals who now have tanks.
Oh my gosh! Did you see the articles?
I've seen some of the video.
Well, no, of there are people in the Taliban that are sick of working desk jobs now, and they're quiet quitting.
Oh wow, that's funny. I know that's.
I do not wage a holy war for this.
Where is my virgins?
Yeah, they just amended the benefits package. Now you have to be a jihadist and work for the company for 20 years to get your virgins after retire. No committing suicide.
You bastard.
So next, it's funny that we're not going to spend a lot of time on this.
This is an easy one.
The economy. So I'll just go through some things real quick. Economically, let's see. As of yesterday, inflation was at 6.04%. I know it's changed a little bit. It changes every once in a while, but it reached a 4-decade high of 9.1 in June of 2022. which that's pretty bad. That's real bad.
That bad.
Not bad. Okay, now see, here's where I got really confused.
What's wrong with the United States economy? Ain't got no gas in it.
No gas in it. That's good. I like that. So Biden's unemployment numbers are really confusing for me because I see a bunch of stuff saying that as of February of 2023, unemployment's at 3.4%. However, this article just in January says that there are over 10 million job vacancies in the United States. That's nearly 1.8 jobs for every unemployed person. So why is the unemployment number not zero if there are literally more jobs than unemployed people?
Weird.
But that's what I'm saying. These numbers don't make sense to me. And it's worth noting under Trump, in October of 2019, the lowest unemployment rate under the Trump administration was 3.5%. So we're not that far removed from the Trump administration. And a lot of this job growth is artificial because most of this is people going back to work after they lost their jobs or at least were laid off during the pandemic.
Yeah, that's not adding jobs.
That's not adding. That's returning to the status quo, which is why we've talked about this a few times on the podcast. Numbers can be skewed. They can be spun.
For perception.
Well, I mean, literally, because I'll read an article from someone like Daily Wire. I haven't read an article from them, I'm just using them as an example, talking about how unemployment is terrible right now. But then you'll read something from even on CNN talking about how the Biden economy is doing great in terms of jobs. It's like,
what's her name? Kareem Jean-Pierre.
Yeah, that is her name.
She was the one who was saying that the economy is stronger than it's ever been. And I'm just like, how do you sit up there and just tell people that when they can't afford gas and groceries, the two basic essentials to living in the United States pretty much?
Yeah. And then the federal debt, as of yesterday, was just shy of $32 trillion. Now let's be fair here. Trump contributed a lot to the federal debt.
Well, he did, yes, because of the stimulus package.
Not just
that. Because that was a large stimulus. Well, and the surplus to the military. But with all what's going on right now, seems kind of worth it.
So I don't think you can blame solely on Biden. That's kind of an incidental thing, I think, because I think that would have happened under any president. Maybe not as much.
Oh, yeah.
But how can you, having this kind of a deficit, justify the amount of spending that's going to Ukraine when we have record high inflation, a 40-year inflation high? And I understand we want to support them, but at the same time, it's like, come on.
We can't afford it. Like, literally, we have people here that are barely able to afford anything. And, you know, the worst problem, like, speaking of the economy, the worst problem with our economy and our whole government, we don't have a funding issue. We have a spending problem.
We have a spending problem. Yeah, and I was watching.
Fix it.
I saw I want to say it was Bill Maher's podcast or new show or whatever, and he was talking about, this is anecdotal, but I believe he's telling the truth here. He was reading a story about how in San Francisco, they wanted to build an outdoor toilet.
So they could actually make it?
Yeah, single toilet, according to Bill Maher. And the cost was over $3 million. Now, apparently there was a company that stepped in and said, we'll build it for free.
Oh.
The cost was still going to be $1.3 million. You want to know why? Permits, surveys, code inspections, just all administrative bullshit for a toilet.
So you're saying that outdoor toilet only costs, what, $500,000? Because it went. I believe it was 1.7 down to 1.2. Is that right? Is that what you said?
No, it went from $3 million to 1.3.
1.3 million for permits?
Well, and all the administrative bullshit.
How much administrative bullshit they need?
A lot.
Those are kind of fees that you can waive for a fucking public toilet.
It's the city of San Francisco. They can waive that shit.
That's my point. They could waive everything. Like, they only collect that shit just to keep their local economy running.
Why does a city have to pay the city to do something that the city is doing? This is the lunacy that only comes from government.
Isn't...
Because let's
you say this is San Francisco,
San Francisco,
right?
Yes.
Are they the ones wanting to pay reparations?
Yes.
Oh, $600,000 per person.
600,000
Taxpayer.
Oh, taxpayer. I was going to say no.
That's how much that's going to cost.
And
or is it per
houses-
couple? It might be per couple.
No, I think it's per taxpayer.
Good luck.
And
That's not
houses
gonna
for $1. Where are you going? Where are these houses coming from?
And on top of that, if you have to build them, you think you're going to get somebody in there to build them for $1?
Where are you going to build them?
Where are you going to get the money?
It's San Francisco. Where are you going to get the space?
Oh, okay.
San Francisco has had a housing problem
You
for
get
at
a spot,
least a decade. There's no spots, though. That's the thing. And trust me,
Wishful
they'll
thinking.
build them outside the city in a suburb, and then there will be people who'll be like, no, but I want to live in the city. This is racism. This is redlining. I guarantee you. This will never happen, by the way. It's unconstitutional, both in the California Constitution and certainly the federal Constitution. They cannot do it. I watched a wonderful video. I think they have a YouTube channel too, but I saw this on TikTok. There are two lawyers in California. So they're practicing lawyers in California.
So they know exactly.
And they go through like legal things, and they're really good because they're very, very impartial. They don't take a side. I'm sure they probably lean liberal, but they're like, nah, this isn't gonna happen because laws.
Laws.
Average price per gallon of gas under the Biden administration up to this point is $3.45 a gallon. The highest average under Trump, meaning like out of all 4 years, they take the highest price per year.
Yeah.
The highest average price was the highest average year price under the Trump administration was $2.81.
Even though when he came into office, it was, wasn't it like almost $4?
Yes, I think it was 4 actually. Now, to be fair to Biden.
It took him a year to get it down. So
to be fair to Biden, he had done some things to help lower gas prices. We talked about on here that was opening up.
Not the right things.
Not the right things, no. How can you in one breath say, yeah, we'll buy oil from Venezuela and tell the Saudis where they can shove it, which kudos to him. He did that. While shutting down pipelines from Canada to the U.S.
Yeah, Toast.
Oh, I'm pretty sure Toast would. Speaking of which, Toast, you're awesome, bro. Great podcast last night. What else do we have? That's it for the. Oh, that may not be it for the economy. Yeah, that is it for the. Oh no, it's not. Huh? Just kidding. $40 billion infrastructure bill, which had a lot of bullshit, green stuff in it. Now. The infrastructure bill is an interesting one because our infrastructure is so shitty that we were at a crossroads of it all has to be redone, but to which standard? Do we redo it with green energy or do we redo it with conventional energy? Now, here's the problem though. I can see maybe in 50 years we might be ready to upgrade our basic infrastructure with green energy, but now I just don't think we're there.
Yeah, when we find our own stores of cobalt and lithium instead of using child slave labor.
Now I'm going to say something, fully intending that it's going to sound stupid, but hear me out. No, because I'm not a chemist, I don't know. But if we can grow diamonds in a lab, which are carbon, like we can grow minerals in a lab, why can't we grow synthetic lithium? Or are we already doing this?
No, I doubt it.
Why?
Because we would have a giant market.
Oh, you mean why? I thought you meant.
Sorry. No, we probably have the capability.
I mean, we can grow salt in the lab. We can grow. I've seen them. We can grow diamonds in a lab. We can grow all kinds of gemstones in a lab. Why can't we fucking grow cobalt and lithium and shit? I don't understand. Why are we not doing this?
You sound just like Jordan Peterson right there.
I don't understand. Why aren't we doing this? It's going to make me cry.
But yeah, that's absolutely. I mean, like I said, if any chemist is watching or anyone
Please
who deals with that,
because I'm sure I'm wrong.
Can we synthesize cobalt and lithium without child slave labor?
Or is it too wasteful? Like, is there too much of a waste product? But I mean,
that's possibly.
But that's just a. Really, compared to a mine, though?
The amount of machinery and labor that goes into mining these certain chemicals, or I'm sorry, certain whatever for these green batteries and whatnot, there is more carbon used to mine these, so the offset does not make sense.
I saw a hilarious. It was a political cartoon. I cannot remember where I saw it. It's great. It had these guys in like hard hats, like they were working in some, and he's like, "Come on, guys, we got to work double time. We're gonna save the planet." And then they all get in these giant trucks that are just billowing out.
The problem with all this is they are not fixing the solution. They are moving the problem.
Well, they're lying too because they're making it sound like. Listen.
Well, they're moving the problem.
Well, full disclosure, man. I think electric cars are cool as shit.
Oh yeah, Tesla's awesome.
However, to say that they are going to save the planet, just like you said, not really. You're probably better off trying to invest in alternative fuel sources rather than electric cars, or at least keep that because of the batteries. Now, if we can start growing synthetic lithium and cobalt and things like that, that changes the game entirely.
So Governor, what's his name? Florida, or not Florida? I'm sorry, Governor of California. What's his name?
Newsom.
Governor Newsom is wanting EVs to take over by what, 2030?
Yeah.
But then in the same breath, he says, please don't charge your electric vehicles because it might shut the grid down.
And that is the perfect illustration.
You know, and I'm like what you were saying earlier. Electric is the future. It is. It truly is. We're not there yet. We don't have the technology yet.
Well, here's what I want to know.
We probably do.
Well, here's another thing that's going to make me sound stupid, but if you don't ask the question, you won't get an answer. We had steam power 100 years ago.
We also had cars in the 70s. Well, a couple cars.
There was a car that
by a
runs
guy
on water,
that ran on water, and he was killed. So it's like there's your answer.
Yeah.
Like, you know, basically whatever the government is into, now they're into electrical stuff, you know. So now they're going to try to kill off the coal and natural gas, you know, so.
Oh, yeah, I heard something about them trying to ban gas stoves in California.
No, you can ban it there all you want.
Yeah,
it ain't going to get banned anywhere else. I mean,
you
maybe in a blue state.
You can't ban gas heat in certain places.
No, because if you did that to Indiana, Michigan, or any northern states,
people that will freeze to death.
They will die.
Because if your electricity goes out in the middle of winter and there's a blizzard outside, you'd be fucked.
And the thing is, your little solar panels are going to get covered
with ice and snow. They're going to get covered with ice and snow. All right.
You know, listen, I just came up with an idea, and some billion out there should take this. They should find a way in the atmosphere to have somewhat, not like solar panels, but like somewhat, I don't know how they would do this or even how they would synthesize it, but something in the atmosphere that we put up there. It doesn't block any sun or anything like that. And honestly, it could be turned on and block out, like, say there's a solar flare coming our way. You know, this could be like impenetrable and then it got through. But anyway, that also collect energy from the sun. And then give the entire planet free energy.
And I am having a blank. There's a theoretical concept, like that's a thing. They obviously haven't done it yet. What is it called? I can't remember.
I just don't trust those in power to do something like that because I feel like it would just be weaponized. Oh, you don't want to vote this way? Block out the sun.
Well, but it was funny because I was talking with Toast last night.
No more photosynthesis.
Yeah, on the Arate podcast, and this was about healthcare. But I told him, I'm sure this will shock some people. I'm not necessarily against a universal healthcare system. I would just want it to be decentralized because my problem with it isn't money. I'm going to be real with you. I will happily pay higher taxes if I don't have to worry about medical expenses. I will. Like, that's not my issue. My issue is the government saying who can and can't get care. That's my issue.
It should just be anybody and everybody.
Well, right, but then you have, and granted, this isn't as big of a problem in Canada apparently, but it is in England because I shared that Alfie Evans case, which I've talked about on here a couple of times, so I won't redo it again. Just Google it if you're unfamiliar. And Toast was like, "Holy shit, that happened? That's some bullshit." It's like, I know. So if you had a way that you could decentralize it, but the United States has a perfect mechanism for that. We're states. If
Allow
every
the states to do what they want.
If every that's I mean, guys, that is why the concept of state sovereignty and states' rights is a great thing, because if you like, I'm trying to think of a good example here. I'm sure that there was a state somewhere. Well, Indiana. I'll use this because I know what I'm talking about. Indiana has their alternative for Medicare and Medicaid. You can still get it, but
Yep.
they have a state one too, and they try to get more people on the state one than the federal one, because it all has to do with how funding is dispersed and all that bullshit.
You know how Healthy Indiana plan is actually funded?
How?
Cigarette tax. One thing that's killing people is what's paying to help a lot of people.
That's
Because people are going to buy it anyway.
yeah.
But the thing is, if you say yes, you smoke, and they check you out and whatnot, you actually, if you do have to pay premium, you have to pay a higher premium.
Well, yeah, and
Rightfully so.
yeah. But I guess that's my point. So I wouldn't mind not even a universal health care plan, but just have states adopt their own mechanism. But nobody's trying to tackle that problem because, again, if you fix the problem, you can't run on it. So anyway, Biden's great on the economy. Just because they don't understand how numbers work, I'm going to give them a solid F minus.
Okay.
Okay, you know what?
Hold on. No. I have to say one thing because this directly relates to the economy. I almost forgot about it. I was not a big fan of it, but the thing is, it did help a lot of people when he did the child tax credit and gave it to people.
Wasn't that
through
Trump, though?
No, it was unfortunately it was Biden, but the thing is, he gave it to them in payments throughout the month. But in my opinion, that just creates more government reliance. So I'm not a fan of that, but with what happened, in the year before that and the year before that, it probably helped those people out a little bit, who were struggling. So
and I will say for Biden,
that does not change my grade though.
So this might though. So this is going to be very unpopular, but on the one hand, I think the way the Federal Reserve is handling the interest rates is kind of stupid because they're acting like they're not.
It's absolutely stupid.
Well, no, not entirely, but they're acting like they're not going to be raising rates, and
it stops so many people from be able to even qualify to buy a house.
Well, but you have to though, and that's the ugly truth.
What, you have to qualify?
No. They have to raise interest rates to curb inflation. They have to.
But it's not even doing anything.
Because they're not doing it. They're not doing enough of it.
It's 7% right now.
Well, I know, but here's the problem. They let it get so bad. This is how bad it is. They let it get so bad. But if they do it too fast, it's like you said. People are gonna they're gonna stop borrowing money.
What's the number one way they could get rid of inflation tomorrow?
Raise interest rates drastically.
No, find a way to take the money that they put in out.
In where?
The printed money. We don't have anything back in that money. They printed how much? How many trillions of dollars?
God, I don't even know. But that's what raising interest rates does. Is it takes money out of the
Call on other countries, be like, hey, you owe us this, you owe us this. Put that money back into the economy, whip that shit out, bring the dollar back up. Interest rates don't matter anymore. Drop it back down to 2-3%, and then people can buy homes.
Oh, they absolutely do. And actually, this course correction is necessary.
Now, it's easier said than done.
But here's the thing, though. Interest rates have to be raised because it's how you're going to cover inflation. It's also how you're going to equalize the housing market, which was at a ridiculous place because you had people that could still get easy money, like below 3%, well below 3% in some cases. You had some big companies, which I think this should have been fucking illegal. These big firms were literally getting free money to buy up houses.
I was going to say, I've got a good conspiracy for you.
It's not a conspiracy. It's
no,
real.
I'm saying, well, yeah, exactly. It's not a conspiracy. How many companies, because they have the money, they were buying up houses, and now with the rates raised so high, because people can't get in there and even buy the homes themselves, now these companies are going to come in and just buy all these houses outright, and then they're going to be like, oh, well, guess what? You are screwed because I control the rent.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, with a rate that's stationary, they can't raise anything.
Now the good thing about this though is what will happen. This isn't all these companies. Some of these companies are going to get caught with negative assets on their books because they bought houses when they
Oh, if they get in trouble, yeah.
Well, no, not even that. They bought houses when they were getting free money, and as long as these
What do you mean
interest
free money?
rates- So a lot of these companies, like BlackRock is a perfect example, some of their loans were 0% interest.
See, now that's not fair.
That should be fucking illegal. I know.
You know
I
why?
agree.
Because most time the banks that they use, half time they're, I'm not gonna say they're owners, but
They are. So, but this is the good part of it though. So they were buying up houses like crazy because they were getting essentially free money, or at least very, very inexpensive money.
yeah.
But now that home prices are dropping, some of these firms are gonna get caught with some negative assets.
They're not dropping that much though.
No, because they're not raising interest rates enough.
I don't believe that helps. Like
It does.
You must know something that I don't.
Well, all it is when you make it harder for people to borrow money, you're taking money out of the economy, which makes dollars scarce, and it raises the value of the dollar that way.
But it seems to me like everyone believes that it's the 2008 situation, and they're making loans out to people who literally can't afford them.
And
These people, most of the people that are buying houses, they can't afford them. Just the interest rates are too high, and their payment would be like, people don't realize the difference between 3% and 6% on a $300,000 loan. It's a
massive.
lot monthly.
That's huge.
It is a ginormous. Like,
Well,
if I had 6% on my house right here, I would be well over $2,600 a month for just my mortgage.
100%. But you just inadvertently touched on it though. So 2008 can't happen if you raise interest rates because people won't be able to get those loans that they can't afford.
No, what I'm saying is they can't afford them if they were 3%.
If they were 3%, yes.
3.5%.
But you know what?
FHA.
I talked to my realtor a couple days ago. He told me that there are people that are getting variable interest rate mortgages, as if we didn't.
Why would you do that?
Because people are stupid, and that's why the Federal Reserve has to raise interest rates, because people are too fucking stupid. They are too stupid. Americans are dumb. We have this idea that we don't understand that if you can't afford something, don't fucking buy it. And honestly, our economy is dependent on it.
You want to change it up? Get rid of FHA. 20%. Do it like how it used to be.
Well, but then you'll have people
who can't afford it getting into houses, right? So instead of screwing the entire population, just do that. That's easier.
Oh, I'm definitely against that, though.
And then the FHA, guess what? You can fuck off because now I don't have to pay you. I paid $250 a month of those retards. I apologize. I'm not calling anyone a retard.
Mentally challenged fuckwads.
Well, no, they're just assholes.
They really are. But, so on the whole, it's one of those things. It's a necessary.
I understand what you're saying.
It's a necessary
I just don't
evil.
agree.
It's just that we've kicked the can down the road so long, and all the libertarians and fiscal conservatives were warning everybody about this.
What do you mean so long, though? It's only been 2 years since we've been in this.
Oh, no. We've been the deficit and all that.
Oh,
and
the
inflation
deficit?
in general.
Yeah, but the deficit has nothing to do with people getting loans. It has everything to do with government spending.
Well, yeah, but it has a lot to do with the economy.
Yes, but government spending is that problem, because the thing is, if we didn't have them spending our frickin', the money that we pour into the system.
But where do you think they're getting the money that they're spending that they don't have? They're printing it.
Yeah, and that's an issue. That's why I said get rid of spending, call upon one of the countries that owes us trillions of dollars, because God knows they're out there, and we grab that money back, fix the economy.
That won't help with inflation, though.
Well, no. If you get rid of if you get those dollars out of the system, like you get our money back, and then you rip those dollars out of the system,
you'd theoretically be where you were before. But I see what you're saying.
Well, I mean, how better were we before?
You got to stop printing the money as well.
Oh yeah, no. Well, and that's another thing is actually Congress did just put into a vote about bringing us back to a standard, whether it be gold or whatnot.
Now. You can't.
Well, no, it's bad to do it right now. But I'm just saying, like, eventually, yeah, that would be smart.
Well, the only problem with that, don't get me wrong,
they might as well just call it a fucking digital currency.
No.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying because the thing is, our money technically has no intrinsic value.
No, faith. Well, if it's tied to
faith based.
Well, if it's tied to anything, it's tied to oil, just unofficially. But okay, we've
we're going away. Economy F.
It's worth noting that we gave Trump an A+
F minus.
I would give it a D minus because I do like some of the things, although I don't really think you can attribute much of that to Biden. These are things that were inevitably
They were
going to
things that
happen.
had to happen.
Yeah. So, would you say F? I said D minus.
I say F minus.
So F.
F, yeah.
Because there's no such thing as an F plus. I mean, there is, but
We can call it.
that's just rubbing salt in the wound.
He deserves like a Z if that was possible.
It does now. It's 2023. Zim. All right.
Zizer.
Next, we move on to how presidential Biden is.
And see, that's just how it rolls here on the Average Intelligence Podcast. We don't always agree.
No. As of January 2023, Biden has publicly lapsed into a nostalgic recollection of an intimate conversation he had with Xi during a visit to China when Biden was vice president 22 times.
What?
So he has, while speaking, he has lapsed into a nostalgic recollection of an intimate conversation that Joe Biden had with Xi Jinping during a visit to China when Biden was vice president. This has happened 22 times as of January 2023.
Jeez.
Now, it's also worth noting that Biden has only held, as of January 2023, only held 21 joint news conferences, which is fewer than the three most recent presidents.
Hold on. So
at that point.
All right, for some reason my brain was not computing. He's talked to him 22 times and then only that 21?
No. He has, when he's talking about something else, he has lapsed into and started talking about a memory of a conversation he'd had with Xi.
Okay, for some reason my brain was not computing that.
Yeah.
Well, why?
Because his brain doesn't...
Is hardwired for China. He's like, Nike. I do like Nike, so I'm sorry. I don't support child slave labor directly.
It's not the child in China, he a man.
That's not a boy. That's a tiny little man.
That's terrible.
That was the best thing ever back in the day. That was so funny. You remember what movie that was from, right? Starsky and Hutch?
Oh, God.
Did you ever watch Starsky and Hutch?
Yeah, once.
Well, not the older ones, but the newer ones.
With Ben Stiller.
Oh, dude, I think he was Chinese, but he's throwing stars, and he gets hit with one, and he's like, "That's not a boy, that's a tiny little man."
Wow. I saw this hilarious one that was just like 3 minutes of Owen Wilson going, wow.
And you can sit there and watch it. It's just so entertaining.
Yeah. Wow.
We're losing subscribers as a kid. No,
much love to Owen Wilson.
Oh, yeah. Great actor. And he pretty much stays shut up about most things.
Which, that's worth its weight in gold now. Ben Stiller's kind of the same way, too. He doesn't really...
Dude, Bryan Cranston had to go and ruin it. He had such a legacy with Breaking Bad and all the other stuff he's done, and I'm just like, and you just had to go and ruin it, dude. Shut your mouth. Like, and it was dumb stuff. Even Bill Maher was like, no, dude, you're wrong. And Bill Maher's classic liberal.
Yeah, Bill Maher is not a conservative by any stretch of the imagination.
At all.
Which is hilarious that some people are calling him right-wing. I'm like, Bill Maher?
He has right-wing opinions on certain things, but the thing is,
he has opinions on certain things that
liberal,
would not have been
classic
considered,
liberal.
that not even 10 years ago would not have been considered right-wing positions.
Right. Even Bill Maher is further left than Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I would say so.
Joe Rogan's hit more center because, like what we've discussed on previous podcasts, the bar keeps going further and further left.
Yeah. Well, Joe Rogan in 2008 would have been like an all-star liberal.
Oh, yeah.
Hardcore.
But the thing is, 2008 versus 2023 is way different for liberal.
I'd even say 2014, but right around 2016, shit started really... so anyway, Biden being presidential,
Non-existent. I mean, how many questions does he take without screwing up?
This goes into leadership style again, but
Has he gone and talked to Xi Jinping?
Since he's been president,
No.
I don't think so.
Has he gone and attempted to talk to Putin? No. Has he gone and talked to
Man?
I think
he has talked to Putin.
Face to face?
I can't.
I think they did have.
I think there was a conference. Yeah.
Was it at the summit?
I think so.
So not really, but
well, kind of. I mean, they were in the same place, if I'm recalling correctly. But
Trump didn't go to Russia. They met somewhere else, right?
They met on neutral ground. Yeah.
Rightfully so.
So here's the thing about Biden. This just hit me. I wouldn't even say Biden is a leader. Biden is an administrator. Because Biden does not really do anything per se, but he tells people in his administration to do shit.
But you assume he tells people to do shit within his administration.
Only because
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Actually, you're driving it home more than I was even. It's like, I don't think Biden is actively involved in much of anything.
No, I think he's just a face.
And talking about being presidential, I mean, not for nothing. Don't get me wrong, I would have fallen asleep during that climate talk too, but he's the president of the United States.
Dude.
Trump would have just had the balls to just not show up.
I get smacked if I fall asleep in church.
Well, I mean...
Just saying.
It's boring.
Well, and it's also warm in there. You know, guys talking, he's like... And you'd be falling asleep and they'd be like, blood and brimstone! You're just like, yes, sir!
I kind of want to see this happen now.
I'm not.
Tell Sasha to take a video next time.
Oh, yeah.
Fire brimstone.
I don't go very often, only on like certain occasions when like there's no other way I can get out of it. Now I work on weekends, so it works out.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, capitalism.
No, it's not bad. They have really good people there. I just may not agree with everything.
I don't want to give him another F, but I just can't.
F-bomb.
We're looking super biased here, but I mean...
You don't have to really look super biased because it's the truth. And the truth shall set you free.
Man, I'm trying.
You know what? Let's give him the first. F+.
But no, he doesn't deserve the plus. I'm trying to think.
You're trying to come up with something.
I'm trying to think of something that he's done that I would say.
You know what?
That's a good lead.
You know what he did do?
What did he do?
He ignored Ohio just so he could deal with Ukraine.
You know what?
What a great guy.
F.
He's a great guy. You know?
He gets an F.
Foreign over domestic.
And we didn't even
first.
talk about his speech. The president of Unity comes out looking like the fucking emperor, not in a good way.
Oh, yeah.
Like that whole thing.
He was straight. What is it off of? What's the name of that movie? V for Vendetta. He looked like that guy.
He reminded me of Saruman talking to the Uruk-hai. A new power is rising. To war.
And that was Kamala Harris from the back. Yes.
She's back there. She's like, find the halflings.
Did you hear her laughing when they were talking about what was it? I don't know. I think like soldiers or Americans being killed, and she was like laughing it off. I can't remember the story, but I was just like,
I did not see the full context of that clip, but I did see the clip, and if that's legit, fuck you.
And it could be a deepfake, you know. This shit's getting ridiculous.
I think if anything, it was just taken out of context. But
yeah.
Shit, I can't. And every time I try to think of something good, I think of something worse.
On to military.
So.
Well, I mean, are we talking American military or Ukraine military? No. Just saying. He's helping them out.
I think even Ukraine likes Trump a little bit more because I mean.
You know, and that's the thing. Would Trump have given them all this money when we were so broke? But the thing is, hold on. We probably wouldn't be this broke right now if he were in charge. I can't guarantee that statement. I'm just thinking in my own heart of hearts, I believe we would be better off right now.
Well, I speculate that Russia wouldn't have even invaded if Trump were president right now.
That's true.
So.
Because the thing is, you know, Trump, you know, he'd be like, okay, so Ukraine or Russia has a problem with Ukraine joining, what was it?
NATO.
And then Trump would be like, okay, you're not joining.
Well,
what did they need to join for? What's that going to do? Like, we already said we were going to protect them.
That's kind of, there's already a treaty in place. And I think that's probably what Trump would say. He's like, listen, we already have a treaty. All right, if Putin wants to go and swing his dick around, listen, we already have thing, and don't even get me started on China. I'm getting proud. My Trump impression's getting a little bit better every day.
I can't do it.
It used to be awful. But the key to my Trump impression is the word China, because he always says China. He says China, and then you get it where it needs to be.
I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun.
I was talking off air about how I love.
I'm gonna work on my Biden.
I love Ben Shapiro's Biden impression, even though it sounds nothing like Biden. It's just funny. He's like, it just sounds like a windy old man.
That's what he sounds like nowadays, though. So
I just love it. Whenever he tries to sound forceful, he sounds like an old man that just woke up from a nap.
So Biden's got F's on the board so far. Foreign policy F, economy F, presidential F.
And so for the military, I have a couple of quick excerpts to read from Tim Kennedy's memoir, Scars and Stripes, which I highly recommend you buy and read, because it's a phenomenal book. But the last chapter of the book deals with when he went to Afghanistan to start trying to help get people out.
Or support your local library.
Or support your local
They probably have it there.
Just buy it. So this is after they're trying to get plan together to go over to Afghanistan.
And this is directly due to the military.
Right. This is during the U.S. withdrawal of Afghanistan.
Gotcha. Let's go.
What a fucking shit show, man, he says, referring to his friend Nick, referring to our government's performance so far. While shaking his head in disgust, Nick's an idealist. He still gets genuinely surprised when people fail as badly as we are failing in this mission right now. How do we pull out all of our forces and then try to evacuate, he asks. He isn't really talking to me. He's just venting. He and I have this conversation about 1,000 times in the past 48 hours. We sip our coffee in silence for a little while. Him wrestling with being let down by America, and me wrestling with the conversation I had earlier that day with Chad Robichaux. And then later, oh, sorry, wrong page. And then this is after they're actually on the ground. This is once they're on the ground and they're starting to locate people and start to try to get them out. This is a very complicated situation on the ground. Politics in the United States is negatively affecting in real time what is happening here in Afghanistan. In some cases, the Department of Defense and the Department of State and even smaller agencies all have different competing agendas. So in some cases, we not only have to slip evacuees past the Taliban, past their own countrymen, and through a barricaded airbase, but also past American checkpoints. It all depends on whose list we are working off at any given time. And then in closing for these excerpts, there is a photo in the book of Tim Kennedy on, I don't know if it was the last flight out of Afghanistan, but it was one of the last flights, and he's there with refugees after being there for several days, rescuing people and getting them out of the country.
Can we show that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
no, it's cool. I got the cassette tape in my car.
I don't think Tim Kennedy is going to mind that we're sharing this photo that he put on Instagram. So that, there's a delay, sorry. So that's Tim Kennedy in the back of a plane.
Tim Kennedy, oh my gosh, in the back of the plane with who?
Refugees.
With refugees, just in case your mic didn't pick it up.
If I can get this with the delay, it's messing me up. There we go.
Did it work?
Yeah, I finally got it.
Cool.
Because I'm moving the book and then there's a delay.
Oh.
So I don't know if I'm in the right spot yet or not.
Sorry, we're not professionals yet.
And I highly encourage you to watch, if nothing else, I think it is the latest, or maybe the podcast before the latest, Joe Rogan Experience with Tim Kennedy, because he goes way more in depth on what a shit show it was in Afghanistan.
Isn't it sad how that's how you have to get most of your like world views now from podcasts across the world?
Well, and I say this all the time. Whenever we're talking about anything military related, neither one of us have been in the military, so take anything we say with a giant grain of salt, but I try to speak only to people that I've heard talk who were there, like Tim Kennedy, like Jocko Willink, like all the other veterans.
Jocko's. I like
Jocko will tell you about Iraq.
He's seemingly nuts, but he's legit.
Hey man, I feel quite a bit safer knowing there are guys like Jocko and guys like Tim out there.
And that's the thing, man. Like I cannot say without a shadow of doubt that I would be willing to do what they've done. So like we always say, we appreciate military,
Fuck yeah, you guys are awesome.
every one of you.
And that's why this is so disgusting. Because Biden, I watched him say this. It's not going to be another Saigon. It was exactly fucking like Saigon. It was exactly like Saigon. Oh my God. They had the country in like record time. Record time. There were people, and Tim Kennedy talks about this, the image that he saw, and it was on the news, people were hanging on to the landing gear and wings of a plane that was taking off.
Oh, I remember.
People were throwing babies over fences with concertina wire and missing because the chance that their kid could get over and get picked up by an American was worth the risk to these
And they're just crushing to the ground and probably dying.
I don't
even want to think about it.
I don't even want to say. Well, Tim Kennedy talks about it in that podcast, and I don't want to talk about it. And I was infuriated because that's a giant fuck you to everybody that served in Afghanistan. Served anywhere, really. So for that, Biden gets
FF.
F minus. I mean, and I'm not even going to try to be nice about that, because I guess the one thing good you can say about Biden militarily is I guess he is at an all-time low for drone strikes around the world. So
Yeah.
Considering
Obama.
But how much of that is because he pulled out of Afghanistan?
Says
There's my parody shirt. Yeah, I thought you'd like that. And then finally we have domestic policies. Let's try to find something good here.
Ugh.
Let's try. We can do this.
Let me bring out my Jewish. Boy. I said, let me bring out my Jewish.
Okay, he added a Supreme Court justice who I can't say this justice is probably extremely liberal, but I looked her up and I can't see that she's insane, and she does.
What's the name?
Ketanji Brown Jackson.
You didn't watch the.
Ketanji.
You didn't watch the things then, did you?
Was that her?
Yeah, that was her with the pedophiles, and she was literally her excuse for not giving the maximum sentence to this one guy who had so many pieces of child pornography. If I can say that on here, I don't know if I'll get in trouble. But anyway, she didn't give him the maximum sentence, recommended sentence, because she didn't want to give him a sentence for each individual tape. She says he's already got one, so what's the point? That was her excuse.
Damn it. Joe.
I know you were trying, dude.
Okay.
I watch a lot of C-SPAN.
Dude, actually, C-SPAN can be
entertaining.
Fascinatingly entertaining. I watched them vote live on the second COVID relief bill. And, man, it was tense. It's like I'm watching the votes come in. It's like watching a sporting event. It's like the most boring.
All right, I will give a little bit of credit to Ketanji Brown, though. She did somewhat speak intelligently, but the thing is, like, when forced to explain why she didn't give, she gave like light sentence to pedophiles and rapists and traffickers and whatnot, and it's
that's the crazy thing. Where was it where they were talking about like
make an example of these people?
Well, no, where. Oh shit, where was it,
dude? Seriously, like, because we just had like 5-6 people at once, and then all of a sudden it just popped off back down to 2 because I said that, and it's like, YouTube needs to get their shit together. You're right.
It's a factual statement.
Yeah.
And we're doing the exact opposite.
Reading the shit. Well, I'm not reading the shit, but anyway.
I mean, Biden's only given very, very few pardons, and
Biden is awesome. You guys should definitely vote for Biden in 2024. Come back, viewers.
You should not. But I looked through the list of everybody that he pardoned.
Oh, look, it popped up. No, just kidding.
I looked through the list of everybody that he pardoned, and there's nobody on this list that's even directly connected to him in any way. Can't say the same thing for Trump. He pardoned a lot of fuckers for obstruction and shit like that.
Well, to be fair, all those people that were put in prison, it was more along the lines of putting them in prison because of their ties with Trump. And I'm not saying that their shit's bad. I'm sorry, backwards. I'm not saying their shit's good, what they did. But the thing is, it's like all white-collar crimes.
That's a valid point. And Biden, largely, it looks like most of this is drug-related. Actually, almost all.
Everybody's always like, oh, drugs, they should go lesser. And it's like, why? Like, eventually they're going to end up with H word and the other words. I'm not trying to lose any more viewers.
So these are two stats that, depending upon where you sit politically, this is either a great thing he did or a really bad thing he did. As of January 2023, 660 million COVID vaccines administered under the Biden administration. 20 million had received the jab before Biden took office. Now, they do give credit. The vaccine was not approved until late in Donald Trump's presidency. 660 million. So if you do your math...
There's only 325 registered million Americans.
Remember, that's a lot of those vaccines are double dose. Oh. But we know there are large swaths of the country that didn't get a single vaccine.
Hi.
So that's more than two.
Yeah, and you only got one out of
in 2 years of a presidency.
Selfishness.
2 full years of a
presidency. 2 years of pregnancy.
2 full years of a presidency. 666 million vaccinations. Now, if you are pro all that, then that sounds great to you. But I question you this: if there is any sort of medical procedure which you have to get more than the initial recommended dosage of that many times.
He said, username said, is it hot enough for shorts?
I don't know, is it? Actually, it's pretty warm today.
Oh, man, I thought he was talking about what we were talking about, putting it on the YouTube shorts. Man, I'm business right now, apparently. Yeah, it's hot enough. It got up to like 72 today here in Indiana.
Yeah, it got quite warm.
I did not like it. It was unseasonably warm. It felt weird.
And then we already talked about the infrastructure bill.
Are we on domestic policy?
Yes. And now this is a good one, comparatively speaking.
So let me just get this out real quick. Domestic policy with what I was saying about him giving those checks to Americans.
Oh yeah.
That's technically domestic policy.
Yeah,
so
that is.
I have to give him a little credit for that because granted, with what happened with the pandemic was all governors' faults for allowing the economy to be shut down. You don't shut down economies. That's just
you don't shut down
that's
economies
101.
and expect there to not be negative effects.
Yeah, that's 101. Don't shut down economies. He said, "God damn."
only one person in the Biden cabinet has left the administration, and he took another job, so it wasn't anything scandalous or anything.
Well, yeah, because they're getting paid to do nothing. Hell, they probably don't have to come to the office.
That's not entirely true. In fact, I looked at Biden's cabinet, and other than a couple of questionable entities, like, for example, Janet Yellen being the Secretary of Treasury, she was the former...
LOL.
Oh, don't worry, we'll get to him.
Mayor Pete.
Well, because here's the funny thing: we have the luxury of being from Indiana, and have you been to South Bend?
Captain Planet. Yeah.
He's a hero.
He says anti-vaxxer sounds like it could be a Captain Planet villain, or even a Power Ranger villain.
Yeah. Definitely.
I am the anti-vaxxer. Grow.
Janet Yellen is the current Secretary of Treasury after she was chair of the Federal Reserve from 2014 to 2018. And I remember hearing her say just some goofy shit.
Who?
Janet Yellen.
Oh, yeah.
But most of these people, first of all, I checked and made sure, like, for example, I believe I'm pronouncing this right, Gina Raimondo, or Raimundo, I don't know how you pronounce that. It looks like Raimondo, but she's the Secretary of Commerce. She actually has a background as a venture capitalist, so that makes sense. Then you got, let's see, Janet Yellen. I mean, she has a background in it because she was the chairman of the Federal Reserve. One person has no business being in this cabinet is Pete Buttigieg, who is the current Secretary of Transportation in one of the shittiest towns in the entire state. I mean,
I have nothing for him.
Like, I'm sorry but I know people who live in South Bend, and they say it's a shithole. They were very happy to see Mayor Pete go. And then, of course, you have Kamala Harris, who was in no way, shape, or form qualified for that job.
No, she
And
was
in
picked
fact-
because of her skin color, which is
hilarious because
not racist.
I know everybody's forgotten about this. They don't talk about it ever again. But I was watching when she called Joe Biden a racist on live television.
And then she happily accepted that nomination.
We did it, Joe. We did it. We did it, Joe.
It's disgusting.
Oh, and the Secretary of Education is actually a teacher.
Which one?
Miguel Cardona. He was a fourth grade teacher and then a superintendent and administrator. So, I mean, he has a background in education. Now,
that doesn't mean anything these days.
Well, they're pushing that Common Core shit. I watched another math Common Core video, and this is just goofy shit.
The way they're having them do math,
Yeah.
they're adding billions of steps when it's not that
they're
difficult.
drawing squares and shit, like...
To do math?
Yeah.
Like, I can understand if you're doing geometry.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about geometry. We're talking about, like, multiplication.
Writing, reading, and arithmetic.
The Secretary of Agriculture was Secretary of Agriculture under Obama. And, in fact, a lot of these people are holdouts in some way from the Obama administration, which is funny because when Biden was running...
Merrick Garland.
Yeah, well, but I was making the joke that when Biden was running, I called it Biden because it was just Obama's third turn. Anybody else worthy? Not really.
Merrick Garland is. Have you been watching any of the C-SPAN with him in it?
Not
and he's
recently.
getting grilled? Oh, my gosh. Even old Dick Chin is getting him. You know exactly who I'm talking about. Shave his beard. He's Dick Chin.
He is. I'm sorry. That beer was the best.
Hey, I'm telling you what, though. He's been phenomenally burning people's asses in C-SPAN. But the thing is, it's like, I want to be like, well, what have you done there, buddy?
Who?
Cruz.
Yeah, I know, but I don't. I guess I don't get what you mean.
He's been like talking to people like that, and he's been asking them questions, this and that. But like, I mean, I'm pretty sure the guy does stuff, but I'm just saying I don't see it.
Gotcha.
Anyway, you can't even dress this up any other way.
Well, but I guess my whole thing with Biden's domestic policy is it's pretty well expected of him, though.
He killed pipelines.
Yeah, but that was expected.
It was because that's what he ran on.
Yeah, I know. So give credit where credit's due. I'm trying to be nice. I'd say maybe give him a C.
Oh my God! For domestic policy, a C?
Only because he's doing what he largely said he was going to do, and there are people that like that.
But regardless of what he ran on, it has to be a win situation. It can't be a grade off of what he said he was going to do and is going to do. Like, do you get what I'm saying?
I do. I'm just trying to be nice.
He's doing his damnedest to give Biden one good grade.
I'm trying to not.
And it's not even a good grade. It's a passing grade.
I'm trying to not look like a Republican here, but I mean, you just can't argue with this shit.
Just. All right, listen. I'll level with you.
Let's wrap.
D.
D?
It's nuts.
You know what? I can live with the D because, like you said, you mentioned like the child tax credit.
That's it. Like, literally, past that, I can't think of anything good. Like, if he were to roll out a plan for internet for everybody or something like that. Oh, I'm sorry, he's not Elon Musk. For internet for everybody or something like that. Like, because internet, like, everyone acts like they have to pay for the bandwidth, and it's like they do, sort of, because they have servers and whatnot, and those servers take electricity to run. But in those things, you could build up 1 billion solar panels on the roof, and then therefore it's net zero.
There was the insulin bid, which I know he ripped off of Trump. But
Well, he didn't just rip off of Trump. He canceled Trump's, which, marked it at $35 because there's even a video of Trump saying that, and it's like, they're not going to go any further than $35. And then they come to Biden and goes, it's not going to be any more than $35. I'm like, if you're going to steal, change it up a little bit. Just be like 37. 32.
Or 30.
Or how about insulin should, I hate to say it like this because, you know me, I'm a filthy capitalist pig. It should be free. for certain individuals under certain caps.
Here's the thing, though. If you're going to make...
And actually, it is free for people underneath certain caps. Because
but if you're going to make birth control free, because that was done under the Affordable Care Act, I'd rather see free insulin before free birth control. I agreed. Because, for one, free birth control, I mean... I hate to say it, women, you guys shouldn't be using birth control of certain, like, taking things or shooting things in your arms. It changes your hormone. What? Is that a super chat? We don't get super chats yet. No, we can't.
I think that's our top chat. Like, it's saying that he's, like, our top commenter.
That?
Yeah.
Is that what it says?
But anyway, like,
women
shouldn't take anything that's going to alter their hormones because birth control does that. Now, obviously, condoms are birth control as well.
But that's a different kind of.
But that's a different contraceptive. So, you know,
we're not going to get into that argument.
Well,
that's a whole different discussion. That's why
I don't disagree 100%
I don't
with
disagree
them, but
with
at the same time,
saying, that's a whole different.
Like when women like statistically take birth control and they're with their boyfriend, if they stop taking it. Some of them, like, literally lose all attraction for their boyfriend.
You've been watching Sterling Cooper's videos as well.
Who?
I'm kidding.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot of people have been talking about that.
Oh, yeah, I noticed. But I was like, I didn't know that.
You know what, though, when I heard
weird.
that, I'm like, that makes so much sense, though.
Yep, give him the D.
Biden.
Only just because of what I said.
So that's an average of F. I didn't think it was going to be this bad. I figured he might walk away.
Known.
I figured he might walk away with a D. So just for comparison's sake.
Listen, just like Alanis Morissette said, you ought to know.
So we gave Trump a B- on foreign policy, an A+ on economy, D+ for presidential, an A for military, and C for domestic policy with an average grade of a C+.
And you know what? I changed my vote on his presidential thing because, for one, he may have been an asshole to other political rivals. He was never an asshole to anyone who, like, came to talk to him. He always stopped and talked to him. He would talk to veterans. He would talk to people. And then on top of that, he met with other world leaders and then, you know, signed peace agreements. And I think that's very presidential. So, What did we say on that? D+ on presidential for him?
C+. Oh, the D+.
D+. I'd say C. Because I started thinking about that, and I was like, man. I was like, because you can't just go off of him talking shit to, not Fox News, but CNN and all that stuff. I was like, yeah, it's not presidential. But at the same time, that's why he got elected. Yeah,
that's true. There's something to be said for that.
But at the same time, like what I said earlier, so I have to stick to that, you know, about what I was saying about Biden, you know, doing, I don't even know where the hell I'm going with that. I'm done.
Yeah, so that actually went faster than I thought, too. We really tried.
Hour and a half. Hour and 20.
I really tried to lay into Trump more when we were grading him, but I mean, there's just some stuff you can't argue with him, much like Biden. I'm trying to...
It's like Biden doesn't say anything.
You cannot say with a straight face that you are better now, 2+ years into a Biden presidency compared to a Trump presidency. You cannot say that with a straight face.
And if you do say you're better off, it's because you're rich.
Not even then, though. Like,
because you're still spending more money.
We're still better off with Trump.
But halftime though, like I've met rich people, and halftime when they spend money, they don't think about it. They just spend it. They don't pay attention, so therefore they're not paying attention to how much more they're spending. Their accountants maybe.
Yeah.
But not them.
Well, what was Cardi B saying? She's like, you know, I don't see it when I'm paying $6 for eggs.
And I was wanting to be like, how many millions you got?
No, but she said, when I notice I'm paying that much for, I have a terrible Cardi B impression. She said, if I notice when I'm paying that much more for eggs, how the fuck are these people out here that are working 9 to 5? And I'm like, wow, I both agree and disagree with you at the same time. That's hilarious.
That wet ass pussy. And I said it, Ben Shapiro. Wet ass P word.
His version's better.
That was amazing.
Sorry, not sorry.
That song was amazing.
Well, I guess that's it. Vote Republican in 2024. Whoever it is.
Listen, I don't care if you vote Republican or Democrat. Just vote policy over party. It's not that hard. If someone comes up with a better solution, they say they're going to run on that, But they also have to have the track record in the past of doing things, not just someone who just comes out of left field who has been in government for 30 years and says they're going to do this. You can't trust that shit.
You know, there is something to say for the fact that when somebody's in government that long and hasn't been president yet, when they've run that many times and lost up until like the last one, when they're finally like Biden got a pity nomination because he was not the first choice for the Democratic
They didn't
base.
have anybody to run.
They purposefully didn't have anybody to run, though, because they decided, I'm fully convinced, they decided from the very beginning that Biden was going to be the nominee because it was, I'm sure the internal discussions were because it's his turn.
I agree.
That is not how you should decide the president. And we're about to see a fuck of a Republican primary. It's going to get ugly.
Supposedly, there's a, who was it? Michael Knowles. I just watched a video right before he got here. He was talking about the Republican primaries, and he was saying that Trump's actually in third.
I heard Trump was in first, but I mean...
He's in third, DeSantis is in first, and I'm sorry, it's not Republican primaries, it's likely who will be the next president, and Biden and Trump are damn near equal, and Ron DeSantis is like 30%, and I think they're both like 22 to 23%.
As of right now... and this is my opinion, but I can back it up. As of right now, if it were Biden versus DeSantis for the presidential election, DeSantis would destroy him. If it's Trump-Biden, there's just so much resentment. Whether it's justified or not, that's irrelevant.
I don't think I would vote for DeSantis this time around. But
really? Over Biden?
Over Biden?
Yeah.
Yeah. If he's the nominee, yeah, I'm going to vote for him.
The variable here is honestly whether it will be Trump or DeSantis.
A lot of crazy people, and I'm going to say crazy people, a lot of crazy people are calling DeSantis a Trojan horse. Just because he talks nice and he does this and that. But the thing is, he's doing good things.
That's what I'm
like,
saying.
Oh, no, yeah. I'm talking eloquent. You know, like, he's doing good things. Like when he was pulled out all those books out of the...
I actually want to get, because, and I took this with a massive grain of salt, I saw AOC giving examples of some of these books. These are books I have not read, but the way she's talking, it's not terribly bad. But like having not read the books, now I have seen the one that had the illustrations, and I'm like, they gotta be, being hyperbolic here. Nope, they're not. That book exists, and
it's hard. It is very hard to like read every single book and know every single thing.
Well, but I mean, I'm talking about, I'm going to look up a synopsis, right? You know, to see, but
that's also not going to tell you a detailed sex scene in the synopsis.
Well, I mean, because like, and there are some exceptions here, but I think what people on the left are failing to understand, first of all, I hate that people are using the phrase banning books because it's not the same fucking thing.
No, it's omitting them from
a school library.
That,
like,
under 18. Like, if our brains aren't fucking fully developed until 25, I mean, why are we allowing this stuff? It's basically... Here's
a prime example of this. So, there was a book, I forget what year it was published, but I think we were in school when it was published, called The Kite Runner. Anyway, apparently, this book was... It was controversial to a certain extent because I guess it had graphic... We'll call it sexual activity, non-consensual sexual activity, but it was part of the story though. Like it was part of the narrative because it was a fictional account of things that actually happened. So I'd say like inspired by true events, but not actually like the characters are fictional.
Do you know if they had it on our shelves?
I don't.
It shouldn't have been. Because if they did,
it 100% shouldn't have been though.
Because that had several bad things in it.
But that's what I'm saying. I am here. I don't.
Hand job.
It's a good example though. So it should not be in a school library.
Nope. 90% of
I don't think
his works should
Stephen King's books should be in a school.
But
library.
how many Dean Koontz ones were in there? But the thing is, who wrote the Left Behind series?
I can't remember, but
it wasn't Dean Koontz, was it?
I don't know. I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember who wrote it. But here's the other thing. I don't think the Holy Bible should be in a school library.
I agree.
Don't think the Quran should be in a school library.
I agree.
In a college library? Absolutely.
Yep. Read it on.
I don't think any book should be omitted from a college library, but that's the difference.
Separate the church and state.
Well, but in a college library, you're talking about adults.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. There are plenty of books that I have and I love that I would never let a child read. And there are some that it kind of depends on your age there, bud. Which is why you need a librarian, because if, like, Lord of the Flies is a good example. Like, Lord of the Flies is a book that high schoolers should absolutely read.
It's a good book.
Elementary schoolers, maybe not.
Well, the problem with that is sometimes you have the same library and the same school like we did.
But that's why you need the librarian, because that's what I'm saying. If a fifth grader is trying to check out Lord of the Flies, you'd be like, nah.
yeah.
But a high school senior, absolutely. If a high school senior is checking out, I'd be like, why haven't you read this yet, dipshit? Go read.
Lord of the Flies. It's about a bunch of kids, and then they take over. Well, not really, but you know what I mean.
Kill the pig, spill his blood.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, it is. Right. 100%.
So, Joe Biden.
You got enough. You got enough.
What do you know?
I told you never trust a monkey. The end. Hello, my name is Bongo. I like to climb on things. Can I have a banana? Eek. I got enough.
And this is that part of the episode. It's time. Yep. It's
time to sign off. We gave Biden enough. Yeah, let's. Thank you for enjoying this episode of the Average Intelligence Podcast. As always, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your mother, tell your brother, tell your wife, tell your sister, tell your dad, tell your grandparents, tell everybody, including
Joe Biden,
your school administrators, because everyone should watch the Average. No, hardly anyone should watch the Average Intelligence Podcast. We should have a disclaimer like South Park, like it shouldn't be watched by anyone. Speaking of which, our chef short is blowing up on TikTok currently.
Oh, TikTok getting ready to get banned.
I don't know, man. I'm telling you. Well, actually, do you want to record that?
What?
The TikTok China thing?
I don't know yet.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
Still debating.
Well, either way, I think we'll still talk about it. So, we're going to do a premium episode.
I want to. I just don't want to be yawning through it.
Yeah, we're going to do a premium episode on Acropolis News Network talking about TikTok, because what I saw today is just fucking laughable.
We will record it within this week or next week, and it will be up within, because the thing is now we have a way to put it up.
I figured out how to do it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but I was actually going to suggest, if you were okay with it, we could do that over Zoom on another day.
I'd rather not Zoom it.
All right.
Just because I like this vibe more, but
okay.
I digress. And as always, if you would prefer to listen to the podcast as opposed to watch it
with your ears,
with your ear holes, check us out on all the major podcast platforms, including but not limited to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Radio Now, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Audible, now available on YouTube Music. That's new. And right here on good old YouTube.
Yes. Oh, and by the way, to any subscribers who subscribed specifically for the carnivore diet, it's going well. I'm actually down 15 pounds. So.
And to anyone who.
And I feel pretty good, except I'm exhausted because I did a lot of shit today, and I was in the gym for an hour and a half.
And we need 3 more subscribers to get to 500. You guys
get us to 500,000.
Yes, get us to 500,000. But
500 so we can afford some damn good cameras, and then, I can get one of those Myron buttons. Cap.
You triggered my trap card. Stop the cap.
I want one of those things. But didn't we talk about getting one?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
We did.
All right.
Yeah, that'll wrap it up.
That's pretty much it. Wrap it up.
Despite my best efforts, Joe Biden got an F.
He tried. I even tried.
We did. We tried. But the more we tried to figure other
I didn't
things
try that
out,
hard. But
well, I know, but the more we what about this? Oh, no, that actually doesn't look very good.
Kind
of like a Joe Biden speech.
I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun.
We didn't even talk about his penchant for smelling children. Good night, folks.
Adrenochrome. Go to bed with that.
Goodbye. And good night.